Hey, everybody, and welcome to today's market update for July as we're about to end the month of July. Got some exciting information. All this data goes through July 28th, 2023. And I think you might be shocked on what you're about to see. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, today, what we're going to go ahead and review with you is 5 things that have happened in real estate for our Central Florida market in July 2023. 5 predictions that we could see in August 2023. Now, keep in mind their predictions. I'm going to be probably right on some, wrong on others. We just don't know. We don't have a magic crystal ball what the future entails, but we do have some leading indicators that can at least point us in the right direction. And then how this all could shape up and impact us heading into 2024. I mean, we only have literally on Tuesday 5 more months in the year, so got to get ready for 2024. So starting off with what we saw in July, interest rates increased. So unless you were living under the rock, on Wednesday of this past week, the Fed raised the rate by 1/4 point. That brought the 30-year fixed as of Friday to about 6.625 approximately, give or take. In some areas it's higher, in some areas it might be a little lower. Highest we have been with the Fed raising rates for 22 years, so it's been a while. In fact, if you really think about it, there's people that are starting to think about buying homes, getting into that age in the low 20s, mid 20s. They couldn't even remember it and weren't around for the last time we were this high from the Fed rate raises. So median prices are rising at a slower pace. So looking at the counties that we keep an eye on, Seminole County, we're at 410 this month, but it was 400 last year at this time. Orange County was 416,980, and last year was 400. So they're about both on a pretty decent pace. Lake County, though, it's where we start seeing the change. They're about identical to where they were last year. So barely $1,000 increase. Osceola actually decreased slightly by a big whopping $5. And Volusia County actually decreased by about almost $4,500. So we could see a difference with the prices, and what we're kind of seeing is Seminole Orange County, which is the more densely populated, less rural counties, are seeing a pretty steady increase still of 2-3%, while the more rural counties are seeing a staggering off, kind of leveling playing field and staying the same. Now, one other thing that's going to drive the prices in the future is that we have less homes for sale. Something we saw, we're not even in the same ballpark if you really think about it. So as of July 28th, Seminole County had 445 closed deals, while last year we had 608. It's pretty far off, and they really only have 1 business day left to be able to close more, and I don't think they're going to close almost 20%. Orange County was about 300 and some off, so 1139 to 1460 based off where they were last year. Lake County 553 to 595, so they're a little closer, but they're still less. And July for Osceola for this year, 568 compared to 725 last year. And then Volusia County 505 to 584. So across the board, same point, same time last year, we have closed less. And that's not really good for the buyers out there because they're not seeing enough homes to be able to buy. So they're not buying. And the ones that they do see that meet their criteria, they're driving up the price. So now, another thing that we saw, rents have slightly increased. So this year, on average, the median was $2,285 for all the homes in Central Florida that are in the MLS. And in July of last year was $2,230. Now there's a little bit of a difference here. These are only for the homes in the MLS. There are definitely some for rent by owners, so people that don't enter in the MLS. So they enter it in Zillow or other avenues that they might rent out their property. So who knows how high those rents can go? Sometimes they can drive up these prices. You never know. But right now, with some of the data that we're seeing, rents going up, and you got to imagine if it's going up for the ones in the MLS, it's going up across the board because there's not enough rentals, or there's more people that are renting versus buying. Therefore, it's driving up those prices. Now, another thing that, and this is might be I'm reading a little too far between the lines, but based off calls I've gotten, we're seeing a lot more investors enter the market. So last year's rental homes were 1,000. This year, 1,508. So a lot more homes that are going up for rent in that area, and that's because who doesn't want to sit back on their nest egg and get passive income? Sounds like a good plan. Now, what could we potentially see come August? I think we're going to start seeing a greater separation in median sales price. I think in the beginning part of this year, going through the summer, we've seen kind of like the leveling off, and now we're going to start seeing the prices slowly start creeping back up. Why? Not enough homes for sale is a biggie. Many buyers sitting in the wing waiting for the right opportunity. So when those right opportunities start presenting themselves, they're going to go out there and buy, and it's going to drive the price up because they want it. I think in the month of August, when the Fed discusses that they will stand still. So who knows what the Fed will do? A lot of it's going to be off of the economic data. Some of the economic data that came out in the month of July was favorable, and the stock market showed that. So I think because of that, they don't want to be too aggressive to have a soft landing with the economy. So they're not going to increase it unless the data shows otherwise, that things are still needing to be a little aggressive. They didn't increase it in the month of June. They did increase it a quarter of a point in July. So I think in June or August, they'll probably be off unless the data for economic indicators says otherwise. It shows that inflation is still not leveling off and getting better. So we'll see if I'm right on that one. That's always tough to predict what the Fed's going to do. Now, saying that they're going to stand still in August doesn't mean that we won't see one or two more price hikes before 2024, but I do think they'll hold off next month and do them later in the year. I think we're going to start seeing in the month of August an uptick in first-time home buyers. You know, there's many first-time home buyers wanting to get into a home. That's how you build wealth for your family. This is a goal of theirs. And I think they're going to start thinking, you know, when they see that opportunity come up, they got to jump on it, and they got to jump on it now. They've been getting ready for a while, so it's time to stop waiting and get going, which I do think is the right time right now to get in there, because these homes are not going to get any cheaper next year or the year after. I also think that we'll start seeing a increase that we've already seen of novice investors. Many first-time home investors want to get in, want to purchase homes and rent. Because I mean, who doesn't want to rent a home and sit back and just collect checks month in, month out? There's headaches that might go with being an investor, but at the same point, it doesn't really matter too much because you're still collecting checks. And I think the interest rate will probably won't go any higher than what we saw this month. I think that possibly at the end of the month, we might see in August it dropping down to 6.3. It is a market, it is a supply and demand. Just because the Fed raises the rates doesn't mean it directly correlates with home loans rates going up either, but it does have a correlation or indirect impact on those. But I do think that we might see them level off, and this is probably my most riskiest prediction. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Now, how will this shape up for 2024? We will start to see another flood to the real estate, more buyers and more sellers. I think sellers are going to see a sense of urgency that they want to get their home sold and they want to move on from certain homes and move themselves. I think buyers are going to realize that it is time to buy their next home. Fed could start lowering rates, I think, in 2024. I think that could definitely happen because once we have that soft landing, they're going to want to pick it up and pick up the economy and make the economy perfect in 2024. Oh, why will it be perfect in 2024? We're heading into an election year. So when you head into an election year, the economy is going to be front and center. It always is. It always will be. Because the economy is one thing that impacts everyone. So from the Federal Reserve and everything, they're going to want to make it perfect, especially when you have political figures, incumbents trying to run on that. And, people are going to forget the high inflation this past year, but they're going to remember if the inflation is low and the economy is kicking on all engines heading into the election, and that's what they want. So they're going to do whatever they can to get it better. And one way that they can do it is decrease the rates. First half of the year will probably be similar to the end of 2022 with things picking up so that we have some positive data heading into the end. In the last 4 months, I think it'll slow down because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. You're going to hear a lot of people talking just to talk because that's the way politics is. And it's going to make some people sit on the sideline and wait to see how this thing pans out. Even though there's no real support or data that's being said, it's just pretty much figureheads, talking heads. But I think that's what could happen in 2024. It's going to be a fun ride, and I'm glad we're going to get to do it together. So again, if you have any questions, you'd like to contact me, feel free. Here's my contact information. I look forward to being your trusted advisor and being able to assist you in any way possible. And here's to a great month of August that we're about to head into.